California is burning in exactly the way it should. They want Beverly Hills to have affordable housing for poor people.
Are you ready for a mind-bending journey with one of the wittiest and sharpest comedians of our era? Join us today as we delve into the hilarious yet thought-provoking world of Tim Dillon. Get ready for some eye-opening insights on financial mobility, housing market predictions, and much more. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Financial mobility is an essential aspect of an individual's life that enables them to ascend the economic ladder and achieve their financial goals. This is particularly crucial for young people who are just starting their journey into the world of personal finance. Tim Dillon, a stand-up comedian, writer, and actor, has a unique and unconventional perspective on financial mobility. He has experienced both the highs and lows of economic prosperity throughout his life. Born and raised in Island Park, New York, Tim Dillon comes from a working-class Irish Catholic family. His parents separated when he was young, and he was mostly raised by his mother, who was later diagnosed with schizophrenia. As a child, he appeared on Sesame Street, but he didn't pursue a career as a child actor. After attending Nassau Community College for a semester, he dropped out and worked various jobs, such as a New York City tour guide, a mortgage broker, and a waiter before pursuing a career in comedy. Tim Dillon's comedy career has brought him fame, fortune, and recognition. He has sold out shows across the country and the world, earned millions of dollars from his podcasts and specials, and purchased a house in Los Angeles. He has also invested in various assets such as stocks, cryptocurrencies, and real estate. However, Tim Dillon is not content with his financial success and is always on the lookout for new chances and challenges. He is not afraid to take risks and make bold moves. Despite his achievements, he has also faced some setbacks and losses, such as losing money in the stock market crash of 2020, getting sued by his former landlord, and having his house burglarized. Tim Dillon's definition and experience of financial mobility demonstrates that he is a self-made and resilient person. He has overcome numerous obstacles and hardships and achieved his financial goals through hard work, talent, and perseverance. He is also a realistic and pragmatic person who understands that financial mobility is not a guarantee or a destination, but a process and a journey that requires constant learning, adapting, and improving. Tim Dillon is a multi-talented personality who is not only a renowned comedian, but also a knowledgeable financial educator and advisor. He shares his insights and tips with his audience and fans on various financial topics such as saving, investing, budgeting, and debt. Tim often invites experts and guests on his podcast to discuss financial matters and offer their perspectives. Tim Dillon's advice for achieving financial mobility is based on his personal experience and practical approach. He advises people to save as much as possible and avoid unnecessary expenses, live below their means, and save at least 10% of their income. Tim Dillon also suggests investing wisely and diversifying portfolios, avoiding risky or speculative assets such as penny stocks or Ponzi schemes. He recommends budgeting and tracking income and expenses regularly, using apps or tools such as Mint, Personal Capital, or YNAB. Moreover, Tim Dillon urges people to pay off their debt as soon as possible and avoid high-interest debts such as credit cards, car loans, or payday loans. Tim Dillon's analysis and prediction of the housing market in 2024 are based on his keen observation and interpretation of current and historical trends and events affecting the supply and demand of housing. He shares his analysis and predictions on his podcast and social media while making comments and jokes about the housing market and its players. Tim Dillon predicts that the housing market will remain tight and expensive as the inventory of available homes will continue to be low while the demand from buyers will remain high. He cites several factors contributing to this situation, such as limited new construction, low interest rates, lack of affordable housing, migration patterns, and demographic changes. Tim Dillon also predicts that the housing market will experience a correction or a crash as the prices of homes becomes unsustainable and unaffordable for many buyers, especially first-time and low-income buyers. He points out several signs and indicators that suggest this possibility, including rising mortgage delinquencies and foreclosure, high price-to-income and price-to-rent ratios, increasing inflation and interest rates, and weakening consumer confidence. Tim Dillon further predicts that the housing market will undergo a transformation or a disruption as technology, innovation, and regulation change the way people buy, sell, and live in homes. He highlights various trends and developments that may imply this scenario, such as the rise of online platforms like Zillow, Redfin, and Opendoor, the emergence of new business models such as iBuyers, co-living, and short-term rentals, the adoption of new technologies such as blockchain, smart contracts, and virtual reality, and the enactment of new policies such as zoning reforms, rent control, and green building standards. Tim Dillon's analysis and predictions of housing market in 2024 showcase his curiosity, informed understanding, keen interest, and sense of humor. He uses his comedy skills and style to engage and educate his audience and fans. Tim Dillon is an astute observer of the housing market trends and players, and he often uses his platforms to offer witty critiques and satirical commentary on the absurdities and injustices that occur in this industry. On his podcast and social media, Tim Dillon is known for making jokes and comments about the housing market and its players, which often involves mocking and ridiculing them. Among the many critiques and satirical observations that Tim Dillon has made about the housing market trends and players are the greed and corruption of real estate agents, developers, and investors. He exposes and mocks their shady and unethical practices such as inflating and deflating prices, lying and deceiving customers, and creating and profiting from bubbles and crashes. Tim Dillon also critiques and satirizes the hypocrisy and delusion of homeowners who believe that owning a home is a measure of success while ignoring and denying the reality and risk of the housing market. He reveals and mocks their irrational attachment to their homes, their unrealistic and unsustainable expectations, and their blind and stubborn resistance to change or sell their homes. Furthermore, Tim Dillon critiques and satirizes the inequality and injustice of the housing market, which creates and widens the gap between the haves and the have-nots, the rich and the poor, and the owners and the renters. He illustrates and mocks their unfair and disproportionate distribution of housing resources, opportunities, and outcomes, as well as the lack of access and affordability of housing for many people, especially the young minorities and low-income earners. Moving on to Tim Dillon's personal and professional plans and goals for 2024 and beyond, they are based on his ambition and vision of his comedy career and his life. He often shares his plans and goals on the podcast and social media, where he also jokes and comments about them. Some of Tim Dillon's plans and goals for 2024 and beyond include releasing his second Netflix comedy special, which he has been working on since 2023. He hopes that his special will showcase his unique and hilarious style of comedy and reach a wider and more diverse audience. He also plans to expand and grow his podcast, The Tim Dillon Show, which he considers to be his main source of income and influence. He plans to increase the frequency and quality of his episodes, invite more guests and experts, and explore more topics and themes. He also plans to monetize his podcast more effectively by securing more sponsor and advertisers and creating more exclusive and premium content for his subscribers. In addition, Tim Dillon is saving and investing his money to buy a ranch in Texas. He dreams of having a place where he can relax and enjoy nature away from the hustle and bustle of the city. He also wants to have a place where he can host his friends and guests and where he can record his podcasts and specials. Tim Dillon also plans to write and star his sitcom, which he has been pitching to various networks and streaming platforms. He aims to create a show that reflects his comedy persona and worldview and that challenges and entertains the viewers. He wants to have creative control and freedom over his show and work with talented and like-minded writers, actors, and producers. Finally, Tim Dillon jokes about running for President of the United States in 2028. He claims that he has the charisma, intelligence, and courage to lead the country and that he has the solution for the problems and the issues that the nation faces. He says that he will run as an independent candidate and that he will campaign on platforms of honesty, humor, and hope. In conclusion, Tim Dillon's personal and professional plans and goals of 2024 and beyond highlight his ambition, vision, and sense of humor. Thanks for watching. If you found this information helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more updates on real estate and home ownership. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to never miss an update.